Hi, welcome to the Black and White show of Elizabeth McAdams, her daughters, including Lori, the scratch point artist, and Kim, who did an excellent hors d'oeuvre layout, and the three collaborated on a wonderful exhibit at the RailWalk galleries called The Theme Black and White. It is a quite elaborate combination of photography and interesting juxtaposition black and white scratch point work by her daughter Lori. Elizabeth McAdams is an excellent photographer. I've been admiring her work for many years. We've sold a few of her pieces for her and act as a counsel from time to time. She is a very out-of-the-box type of photographer who does a great job of exploring unusual angles and striving for lighting and compositional elements that really draw the viewer into her work. I've been pleased to associate with Elizabeth. I'm amazed at her creativity in many ways, as you'll see images that she enjoys playing with light to affect her work, with uplighting, very creative backlighting, and unusual presentation displays that you'll see later. I'll be enjoying hearing also Bob Toth will be discussing his evaluation and comments on her creativity as well. Robert Toth is a fine artist living here in the Salisbury area. Elizabeth has allowed us to show her work at our shop Fine Frame Gallery, but her studio and her gallery is located at the RailWalk on Lee Street. Photography is one of the mediums that she explores, as well as her acrylic overlay paintings, and using acrylic in very creative ways that there'll be some images to enjoy when you see those stark color contrasting the black and white. Her work in this show deals with a good bit of landscape images, but she captures wonderful light penetration and unadulterated photographs in regarding no Photoshop or special darkroom techniques. She's absolutely capturing, as many famous photographers in the past have, the moment of light, that elusive element to create a wonderful composition for the viewer to take time and get lost in. I think her work is outstanding, and I feel that she has hopefully many more years of creativity and creating a vast body of real creative work that I think is quite outstanding. I'm pleased to have met her many years ago, and I'd like to continue our association for many more.
Something about you now I can't quite figure out. Everything she does is beautiful. Everything she does is right. 'Cause it's you and me and all of the people without them to do, nothing to lose. And it's you and me and all of the people, and I don't know why can't keep my eyes off of you and me and all of the people with nothing to do, nothing to lose. It's you and me.
Well, I'm Lori McAdams. I'm the daughter of William and Elizabeth McAdams. My mom and I are having a show together. That was first suggested to us back in the 80s when she returned to school and studied advertising design at Central Piedmont in Charlotte. And finally, we did it. I'm a member of the Charlotte Art League, so I'm here as a guest of my mom, but we do participate in a lot of the same shows, especially at the Southern Art Society that's in Kings Mountain. And it turns out we've been doing a lot of the same subject matter, and honestly, we didn't plan this. When we put the show together, I didn't realize she was naturally drawn to the same type of subject matter I was, and from a distance, people have actually commented that they can they can't tell which are the scratch boards and which are the photography because there's a similar look to them, and we didn't even plan this. I can't say that we first discovered I was into art at the age of 4 because I would watch her as she drew, and I drew a picture of a speckled bird that made her go wow so loudly that I cried. Then she explained she wasn't mad. So since the age of 4, I had inside tips and help from my mom, who is a professional artist among many of her talents, one of which is photography. So if you forgive me if I use the term artist for both a photographer and someone who paints, because I don't distinguish the tool that you use. Remember, you use the tool, you don't want the tool to use you, and basically you're the artist who creates it, whether it's a camera or you paint it, and I think my mom's a good example of that.
Can you tell me what scratch board is?
Well, starting out, I liked pen and ink. I'm working with lines, and when you draw with pen and ink, you can just imagine making a black line across the paper, but sometimes what if you want to work in the opposite direction? I like to buy a brand of scratch board, which is on a solid board. There's a coating of white clay to make it soft, and then it's spray painted with a nice dark rich India ink, and then you not really scratch but scrape off the white lines. So it's almost like making an engraving. Well, it is a form of engraving because you're going below the surface, not like an etching, which would actually take acid. So that's what it is. You're just making white lines instead of black lines, and it comes directly from the cold type era of reproductive printing and printing, because it would show up very well in black and white artwork, especially that of like a newspaper and advertising. And I did work at a newspaper for 10 years, so anything that harkens back to that or for the era of print always gets my attention. The theme is black and white. That was my mother's idea. I liked the idea because I think black and white's pretty spectacular. And one of the reasons I've been successful with the scratch board in black and white is because so few people do it. I was trying to decide what to enter into one of my first juried shows back in 2011, and she says, put a scratch board in. I said, well, why? It's not color. That's why. And also, the ink has a pretty deep color. You're going to stand out from all those other pieces because people aren't used to seeing it, and a juror is going to catch it immediately. So the fact that we have some unusual media using black and white where the entire world is just saturated with CMYK and color, that black and white's really standing out. I'm finally glad we finally got to do the show together. I don't know if it's one of her favorite nicknames, but when we went back to school, a friend of hers called us Da Vinci and Da Vinci Jr. because she would experiment with various type of art, and well, I had to be junior if I was in the same. So it's since the 80s we've been wanting to do some sort of a show together and haven't done so. And I probably would not have got into art if my mom wasn't an artist, because I wouldn't have had the opportunity to sit there and see firsthand and watch and actually participate together.
And I swallow my pride. You're the one that I love. I'm saying goodbye. Say something, I'm giving up on you. I'm sorry that I couldn't get to you. And anywhere I would have followed you. Oh, oh, say something, I'm giving up on you.
What's your name?
Well, my name is Kim McAdams, and my mother is one of the featured artists, and the other artist is my sister, Lori McAdams. I'm responsible for my sister's art abilities. Nice. That's how my sister became such a good artist, as she had me posing for her for many of her drawings, and as a child, I could never sit still. So she learned to improvise and learned to draw things in motion. Mainly, my interest in cooking is from a health perspective, and I hope that one day I can go back to school and get a degree or a licensure as a dietitian, registered dietitian, and I think I can help folks by knowing how to cook and how to substitute foods so that it can benefit from it healthy. I love the process of it. I call it suppose it could be like taking a pill for depression or something like that. You know, I'm happiest when I'm in a kitchen. I aspire to make things aesthetically pleasing, which is important when you cook for people outside of your family and friend zone, the safe zone. First off, I want it to taste good, but I also want it to appear good too, because if something doesn't look good, no one's going to want to eat it. But eventually, that would be nice. I'm starting to get up there in the years a little bit, so the feasibility of going back to school in reality, you know, it may or may not work. But I don't think I need a degree in cooking to have a professional status. I just need more experience. My mother has always encouraged me and my sister to be independent and to let us try and fail and try and succeed, whichever way it was going to go, because for most people you learn better that way. I learn a lot better when I fail than when I succeed, but she always encouraged us to just try different things. You know, you don't know if you're going to like something until you tried it. I never had to suffer through piano, but they had to suffer through the violin with me, though. My sister always did the art route. I was always the pop culture, wanted to have, you know, everything that all the other girls growing up had. I was more of a social person, the social one. My mother is probably one of the most talented people I've ever known. There's not much that she can't do. She can sing.
Oh, I didn't know.
Not professionally, but you know,
Yeah.
she could always sing around the house. But the past few years since she's been involved with the RailWalk gallery, it's like seeing a teenager come out of her again. She's never been happier, I don't think. Finally being able to get her artwork shown and to do what she likes, and she's found different techniques and different mediums that she's never tried before, and that seems to be her niche.
This is Robert Toth, and I'm here at my home studio, and I want to say a few words about Elizabeth McAdams and the work she does. It's been very interesting for me to speak with her over the years at the Rail Artist and at her studio, and there's a fascination about her, I guess you could say, her excursion into unknown territory, the probability of discovery through experimentation. I like the road less traveled because that's the creative path for artists, just like the road less traveled could make the difference because it yields creative spontaneity and return, and you never know what kind of feedback you're going to get from the creative mixed media and these experiments. And apparently she has taken that that road, and I think it's very interesting to see what she's going to come up with. So that's why I look forward to seeing her work at the Rail every time there's a show there. And I can see the daughter has also acquired that same gift of creativity, and I saw her work with Laurie and him is very nice work, and I could see that there's hereditary ability there, and I think that's fascinating. But I think Elizabeth sort of is a role model, and I have to say that she has taken that road of experimentation, and she's coming up with new things. She dares to be different. So I think it takes courage to take the creative, right-brain approach to art. And I feel that she's done that. And there have been a lot of artists who maybe even if they're representational, they all like to get into that creative. Because let's face it, it's all about having all needs met in this art field, as far as doing something that is a departure from the ordinary. Otherwise, we can get burnt out. So there's a time to take a new direction, and she has done that. And I have to say, it's been very encouraging to see the results. That's what makes it interesting, because let's face it, art is a performance, and that performance seems to be something you look forward to. Anyone wants to see a good performance, and the creative aspect is to me the most important thing in art. Imagination, creativity, dare to be different, the road less traveled. I would say that it's invention. It gets right down to it's an invention. It's something that seems to be what the artist is trying to express. So expression is very much a part of that. It's almost like there's, through the work, there's insight into an artist's temperament and what they're trying to do, and that's the interesting thing. So I look forward to more work by Elizabeth, and I hope you make the creative choice and join her as she explores the realm of art.